Okay, good morning to all who are joining us live. It is Sunday, March 21st of 2021. It's 2021. It is also the spring equinox. I'm Dr. Jonathan Ellerby, and I'm here with the Althea Center. We're getting on a few minutes late. It's important that you know, and you can spread the word, that we are doing this just like we always do on Sundays. So that means live stream to Facebook, and then we'll finish up around 11:20, maybe closer to 11:30, and then at 11:30 we will have some Zoom time together as a community, which means a link will be provided, a meeting ID, and you can come in to this meeting. Um, but for some reason, we had a lot of people trying to come into the Zoom meeting right now, and now is not the time to come in. So if you're one of those people and you're trying to find the right place to go and you're watching this on Facebook, that is the right place to go. So thank you for being here. A lot of people know that this is also kind of an unusual Sunday because it is technically my last official Sunday doing an online message or a message anywhere for that matter in my official capacity with Althea. Now, as I've said again and again and again, family is family. So this won't be the last time you'll hear from me, unless I guess you want it to be. It won't be the last time you see me, unless you want it to be. Um, but next weekend is our transition ceremony, and that will be a very different kind of experience. We moved it because of the weather. We are expecting snow and rain today, although now it is expected in the afternoon. There's no planning or predicting stuff. And next Sunday, I guess we'll just meet no matter what. So let's talk a little bit about next Sunday, and then I'm going to do some announcements, or maybe I'll do the announcements, and then we'll talk about next Sunday. We'll get into our prayer, our blessing, and then we have a very special transition into our ceremony from our dear song leader, Daryl, who is also our building manager and a board member. What would we do without Daryl? So, announcements. First of all, if you thought me moving on was going to create a big hole in Althea and there wasn't going to be anything to do and no teachings and no classes, you got another thing coming. Check this out. Thursday, community connections continue. Kathy Humphreys has been doing a spectacular job. The community continues to gather online. It's free, and the link is available on our website and newsletter. That's at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Anyone can join from anywhere. It's just a time to connect and chat and talk and explore our spiritual journeys. Then one of our most favorite teachers outside of Althea, who is also like Althea family, is Puria Montazari. And he has an 8-week Rumi class on Zoom starting this Tuesday, March 23rd. Rumi, as you know, is one of the most legendary and beloved mystics of all times. And you may not know that Puria is known by many as one of the greatest Rumi teachers around. Yes, actually true. He reads and translates Rumi from the original language, and his teachings are deep and rigorous, heartfelt, but um, but academically and historically sound. So check that out. Tuesday, March 23rd, it begins. Another favorite of mine, Julia Foster, is doing the Enneagram Basics. And I absolutely believe that if you don't know what the Enneagram is, you need to. It makes life a lot easier as you understand your style and your needs and how you relate to others. And many say that this work sprung out of the ancient mystery school led by Gurdjieff. There's a lot of depth to this tradition. April 11th. See, so much coming up. It's finally another sound bath live at Althea. Greg Wilkins will host a sound bath. This will be a seated event, so you don't have to bring blankets and pillows, but people are going to be spaced out. You can relax, lay back, and be bathed in the healing, cleansing sound. Um, Next Sunday is our live in person ceremony in Cheeseman Park. There is no live stream on Facebook or Zoom. It is only at the park. Now, we are gathering around the north end of the park. That's right near where William Street connects right into the edge of the park. From there, you will be led. We have volunteers, we have ceremonial assistants, and essentially what you need to be prepared for is simply walking a large circular procession. So you'll be directed towards what is called an Eastern Gate, and then we are marking out the four directions of the universe, of life, the four elements, the four aspects of self, the four seasons, all the totality of the universe will be encapsulated in our prayer circle. We will be putting offerings around the circle. There will be prayer flags at each of the four directions, and we will walk those four directions together as we come into alignment with the energy and the cycles of life, ever changing, new season by season. Then, at some point during the ceremony, and you don't really need to understand all this right now, you just need to show up and join the procession. Everything else will be shown to you. It is largely a non-verbal experience. It's embodied. You can certainly chat with the people you're walking with. Depending on how many people come, I'm going to see everybody, but I may not be able to talk for a long time with many people because depending on the number. If there's something you really want to share, um, you could always write a little note or a card, and we're going to have a basket. So if there's anything you want to say to me or give, as much as I want to hear every single person's sharing, I don't want anyone feeling left out. I don't want to feel like I didn't get to connect with you in a way that felt right to you. So we will have that basket there. And I just might have something for you. What else can I tell you about that? You can park anywhere, but you're certainly welcome to park at Althea. If you're not super mobile, you're also welcome to bring a chair and observe the event. You're also welcome to leave the circle when you need to and rest. It's not going to be rigorous, but if you're differently abled, there's no problem. You can get dropped off right at the head of the street, you know, walk 10 yards and then just sit for the rest of it. We will be publishing a PDF of the ceremonial overview, and that'll go out in the newsletter this week in case anyone missed it or can't remember anything I just said. All right, we're almost finished with all these announcements. I'm sorry, we did start a bit late. We have a spectacular Easter Sunday. As always, Queen City Jazz Band will be back, as they have been for decades, and Puria Montazari, one of our most favorite heartfelt wisdom keepers, will be speaking. Please RSVP on Althea's website. Let's fill it up to the capacity that we are able. And yes, we are still accepting insurance donations to help us match Tim's generous contributions, Tim Wilson from the Mariposa program. So thank you one and all who have helped, and thank you one and all who will help in the future. All right, I think that's about it for now. I really want to switch gears and get into our prayers and welcome Daryl in just a moment. But you might notice that I have a different background than normal. And I thought today it might be interesting that you see that this is actually where I do my thing on Sundays. This is my office. Some of you take a lot of classes with me, many of you don't take any. And so I sit here like this and I talk to you like this with this backdrop um, every Sunday. And this is the light that I use, and that's the stool that I use, and this is the table. It's a little funny to see things from behind the scenes, but I thought that might be just kind of interesting. And yes, this is what my home office looks like. So on that note, and I should tell you, because this is Zoom to Facebook, I can't see anybody's postings, but I'm very sad about that because, yeah, I'd love to be sharing and showing and seeing and feeling the love that you have and that we have. On that note, let's take a breath. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes Big breath in and then breathe in a little more. Long, slow exhale. Big breath in, long, slow exhale. Feel yourself slowing down and settling down. Maybe putting one hand on your heart. As we remember and affirm in this moment in which we feel so much about the past and the future and the present, may we remember as we feel in this moment so much about change and loss and discovery and innovation and the unknown, that all things are one in spirit. As such, nothing truly ends, nothing truly begins. We are energy, changing form, changing relationships. And so we uplift our statement of being as an affirmation of this oneness that we share. God is all, both invisible and visible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. We are individualized expressions of God and are ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, substance. And so, from this place of deep knowing that we are truly one life, one love, one heart, we pray. And we bless each other today. We bless each and everyone in the Althea community, past, present, future. May we stay together. May we come together in strength and love, goodness, learning, letting go, loving, and listening. May we continue to nourish each other through our changes, because of our changes, and so that we may be transformed in the process. We give thanks for each and every soul that has passed through our beautiful building, and each and every soul that is gathered with us in person or online or in dimensions unseen from the very beginning of our journey, this very moment. Love and gratitude for our ancestors, for the grandmothers of this community, for all the leaders and teachers and ministers and families and friends, all people, all beings that have blessed us and been a part of this journey. A prayer, a blessing for each one of us here today, in person and in spirit. Blessings on our staff, blessings on our board, blessings on our volunteers, blessings on each and everyone who uplifts this mission of creating harbor, of hope, of healing, holiness. Guide us through this time we share now, and may we find a new peace, a deeper peace in ourselves, in our world. On this place, we offer a blessing to all beings everywhere. We uplift each and every prayer gathered here right now. We trust in love and spirit. So we lift our lives and the story of this community into the light. And the spirit, we say, for the highest good, the greatest blessing, thy will be done. Amen. And from this place, I want to invite Daryl, dear Daryl Johnson, who's been so devoted to our community. And I welcome him in many ways. I hope that each of you take a moment to consider the generosity of self, that when a community faces change and sometimes even feels threatened, we can become divided, we can become fearful, or we can step forward and say, I am willing. I'm willing to love. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to see things differently. And I'm willing to remember that the path of my soul is not really up to me. And the soul of our community is bigger than anything that any one of us is in charge of. And so with that, Brother Daryl, I love you. I thank you. And please share your own welcome to the song and lead the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'd like to do a song today by Holly Near. It's called I Am Willing, as Dr. Jonathan just mentioned. And it speaks to being open to change, being willing to accept change in an open and loving way, to not have the change petrify you or make you feel like there's nothing that you can do, to have the change actually be what spurs you forward into action to make something better out of it. So I'd actually like to teach you the chorus of this song, because the chorus repeats a few times, and I would like you to, at home on Zoom, you aren't able to unmute, unfortunately, but I would like you to sing that chorus along with me every time I sing that chorus. And it'll be almost like we're doing a community song again. And even though I won't be able to hear you with my ears, I promise that I will hear you in my heart. So let me teach you, I am willing. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. And that chorus repeats several times. So I'm going to start again, and you can sing that with me, and then I'm going to go on to the rest of the song. But please sing along with me on the chorus if you would like to. I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty oak to hold my confusion. Then give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder. Then give me an ocean to hold my tears. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change.
Daryl, thank you so much. Daryl, what I know that you don't is that I'm getting messages that everyone on Facebook is loving this, and we're so grateful for you and so grateful that we could sing together again. And we will
I'm so
sing.
grateful for Althea. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Love you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we are going to, oh, I think we're going to have another special guest. Could you just hang on one second? So my kids are going to say goodbye. Now you guys can't see them, but on the other side of this camera is the Althea community. So this is my last online service. And we're just having a quick moment to say that we love you and maybe we'll see you down the road. So I'm not leaving. They just came quickly to say hi. And I don't know. Is there anything you want to say? Ryan used to go to Althea. Gosh, think about it. 7 years ago. And that means you were like 7 years old. I guess he started attending on Sundays when you were 6. That's crazy, right? Anyway, it's been a while since any of you have seen these two. Um, Ushia is not able to come to the computer. She had her vaccine and she's not feeling great, so she's in bed right now. But we just wanted to say hi and we love you. You can say happy trails. Have a good journey. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, just say what does even that mean? All right. Okay. What do you have to say?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Goodbye.
Okay. Bye-bye. You guys were all so loving to my kids over the years before Lucia was born. Can you close that door when you're done? We had a big event. Joyce Whitty was one of the main people that pulled that together along with others. And it was a very, very special time for Ushia and me. And, you know, we've been honored by the community in so many ways, so many times over these years. Now, today is really supposed to be about my gifts, the gifts and lessons I've received from my time at Althea. And I know that was really a stunning appearance by the by the two kids. Didn't seem particularly clear about what was going on, but they can't see you, so it's a little weird. Um, but really, I don't know that I can do today's gathering without sharing a story. And what I'd like to do is share the very first story I told on my very first Sunday. And as this is my last official, I like to clarify and say official Sunday, I'd like to share the story again. And then we will have a little visit from Rick Kitzman and our board president, and he'll come on at 11:20. I'm just Make it okay. Rick to come at 11:20. I think we need 20 minutes. So, when does it begin? When does the story begin? Come on, folks. Let's text it. Let's type it. Put it in. When does this story begin? You guess. You tell me. Is it yesterday? Was it down the street? Or was it? You got it. Long ago and far, far away. So, once upon a time, a long time ago, and far, far away, there was do you know what story it's going to be? You want to guess? Come on. Some of you should guess the story. You should know the story. Some of you know this story. I've told it almost every year for 7 years, and probably every year. It's the story of a great spiritual center. That's right. A monastery in the middle of a great forest. And this monastery was the heart of the land. All the different villages, even some of the neighboring countries, sent people to gather at this monastery. Oops, my chair just broke. People came for weddings, they came for funerals, they came for blessings, for bar mitzvahs, they came for courses and classes. This was their spiritual center. And of course, through these rich connections and the deep spirituality that was offered, so much else took place. This is where business deals were made. Yeah, sure. People met each other from other places and countries and left as friends, people who could work together. Relationships were made. People found each other in this place. Relationships ended. Lives changed. Transitions happened. A whole world converged in this one simple forest monastery. Well, being the heart of the land and being as important as it was, the abbot of the monastery and the small band of brothers that looked after the monastery and this spiritual community were dedicated. They were dedicated and devoted to provide what they always provided again and again, day after day, no matter what came or went. But that might sound encouraging, except for the fact that you might also consider that when you do the same thing again and again, day after day, in the same way, with the same people or the same place, eventually something starts to change. And if it's not you, it's your environment or your conditions. And so it was with the monastery. Little by little, times changed and people stopped coming. They say a darkness fell upon the land. Maybe it began with a drought, maybe it began with a war, but there was some imbalance, uncertainty, and people retreated to their own homes. They stopped coming forward, they stopped coming out. And so the time came that the monastery grew silent. People hadn't come for years. And the abbot, the senior monk of the monastery, fretted, worried, and prayed to God day after day. What did I do wrong? Where did the people go? And how could I possibly change this? Day after day, he prayed. Day after day, he did his routines, his rituals, his ceremonies, his meditations, but nothing, no insight, no change. Until one night before bed, he was saying his prayers, and suddenly an idea popped into his head. And you could say it was his idea or it was a gift of spirit, who knows? But he suddenly had this memory that somewhere deeper in the deep, dark forest was shaman, an old shaman who they say could heal anything, who had an answer to any question. But long Gone were the days of the indigenous people, the people of the land. The country, of course, was dominated by people of churches, cathedrals, monasteries, books. The indigenous ways, the pagan ways, are far behind. But it kept the monk awake, and he thought, what if? What if this strange character has the answer to my problem? I've prayed enough, asked enough people. I have to go. What if this was a sign from God? I have to go. And with some hope in his heart, he fell into a deep sleep. And he woke up that morning and he spent the day in anticipation of his journey, watching, watching all the monks go about their duties. He felt this enthusiasm. He was going to find an answer. And that day, when they all retreated to their cells before the sun set, he grabbed his bag of provisions, his walking stick, and off he shot into the forest like an arrow. Well, he walked and walked and walked, and the sun set, and the darkness came in, and he continued walking the old, untraveled trail that he felt certain would take him deeper, deeper into the forest where the shaman resided, until there, in the darkness, when he could barely see much at all by the lantern that he carried, a light, a cabin, a small, humble hut. And he raced up to that door of the hut. He knew it had to be the place of the shaman. There were magical relics and charms everywhere, and he pounded on the door. And just like that, the door opened, and a wise, old, loving face opened up. A kind old woman with the wisdom of centuries written upon her face. And she knew instantly who he was. And she smiled and she said, "Come in, brother. I've been waiting for you." Oh my gosh, he thought, this is it. She knows me. She knows my problem. She's already had a vision about it, right? Like he's all excited. This is all gonna like go well. And he gets in, he throws his stuff down. She says, "Please, please sit at the table. You must be tired from your journey." And she pulls out some bread and pours some tea, and he just loses it, right? He just starts crying and blubbering and talking and telling his story. I don't know what's going on. We're doing what we always did, but times have changed and darkness is on the land and people don't gather anymore. What kind of spiritual center is it if it's not what it was? Do you have any help? How do we bring the people back? And the old shaman sat back in her seat. She looked a bit sad, melancholy, thoughtful. She said, "My brother, I have no answer for you. I have no solution or remedy. This is the story we're hearing everywhere, that we live in a time where people have fallen away from spirit. We live in a time where people are not thinking of the spiritual center that once was." "I don't know," she says. "I don't know what to tell you. People are into all these crazy new inventions like wagons and pitchforks, crazy stuff." The abbot was shocked, heartbroken. But what could he do but agree? They were facing together a mystery, a disappointment, a heartbreak, and they shared, they commiserated, they talked and talked through the night. They laughed, they cried, they remembered things about their communities and their journeys and the changes until he felt comforted. He wasn't alone in this, but there was no real answer. Just then, he realized the time. Light was beginning to rise in the east. He had to go. He quickly gathered his things. He thanked the shaman for the tea and the company and the stories. And just as he was about to leave the door, the old woman said, "Stop. There's one thing you should know before you go." He was like, "What? You actually been holding out on me? You know something, and you waited till I don't even have time to ask a question or hear, like, what do you?" He said, "The Messiah is among you." And with that, she closed the door. And there he stood at the front step thinking, uh, I have to get back before they find I was gone, before they find out I went to the shaman for answers. What kind of an abbot goes to a shaman in the forest for answers and comes back with no answers? He starts running. And as he runs through the forest and the light rises in the east, he starts thinking, what? The Messiah is among us. The Messiah is among us. The Messiah is among us. It's all he can think until he races into the monastery. He throws his bag under the kitchen table and he starts chopping potatoes and acting like everything was normal. And then slowly, one by one, the other brothers awoke and came from their cells and took on their morning duties. And as he cut his potatoes and watched the vegetables for the breakfast, he started to think, the Messiah? One of these guys? Give me a break. And he started to think, brother Marco, this guy, this guy couldn't find his way out of a paper bag. He's lucky to be a monk. Not that bright. Probably not the Messiah. He thought about brother Anthony. Anthony, Anthony's maybe too ripe for the job, right? Like a little bit of a perfectionist, a little anal retentive. Everything's got to be perfect. No, couldn't be Anthony. And one by one, he thought of every single member of that monastery and all the reasons why it couldn't be them. Then, as they sat down to eat and he looked around the table, he realized this is how God teaches us. God gives us our relationships, our life, our world. Maybe Brother Marco is teaching me not to judge. Maybe Brother Anthony is teaching me to be patient. Oh my gosh, they all carry important lessons. Any one of them could be the Messiah. And then it hit him. Maybe he was the Messiah. But what could he do? What could he do except the only thing left to do? He decided that without knowing which one was the Messiah, he would treat them all like the Messiah. And that meant loving each one, learning from each one, and uplifting each one. And little by little, he himself began to change as he treated his fellow monks in this incredible way until one day, very soon, they got suspicious and they said, hey man, what's going on? You've become very kind. You are saintly. Well, he spilled the beans, he told the story, everything start to finish, and they all came to the same conclusion. Could be him, could be me, could be any one of us. And so they all began to live with the dignity of the highest order of life they could imagine, treating each other with love and learning, listening and uplifting until one day, a knock at the door. And you know who it was? Do you remember? Come on, put it in there. Some of you still remember. The woodcutter. It's always the woodcutter. A lost woodcutter came to the door and asked for help. They brought him in, they fed him, they gave him comfort, they gave him directions. And when it was time for him to leave, he was astonished by the kindness, the beauty, the generosity of this community. And he left. But as soon as he got home, he told his family, his friends about this incredible place in the woods, this profound spiritual center where everyone was like the highest expression of love and life they could be, and that he felt lifted up when he was there, that he felt like his highest expression of love and life were seen. And so the people went to see it for themselves, and that's how it changed. One by one, friends, family, Word spread, and people began to gather again, learning, sharing, ceremonies, transitions and transformations until it became the vibrant heart of the land again. Now, I appreciate this always was and always is a long story, and I know we don't have a lot of time left, but for me, this story really says it all. When I look back at what changed at Althea and so what changed me, the first thing that strikes me was the opening of the heart. And I remember, and I say this with love and respect, I remember the early days of the community, people that had been involved with the First Divine Science Church, Althea's former name, for so long. They sang the praises of the incredible ministers before, Carl Kopp and Jane Kopp, and they talked about their incredible programs and classes and the incredible wisdom that they brought. Although it had also dwindled as a community. And one thing that had happened was that really the people that were friends were wonderful friends, but something was missing in the way that they had become open to the return of new people. And some might say there was a great love within the community, but that love hadn't yet moved out so that it could be felt by those coming for the first time. And I believe that was one of our first big movements, to take the love that was so strong in that community and move that light from inside to outside. And warmth became the first transition. Hugs, sharing, connecting more deeply, and more diverse people coming, more and more people coming. And that might not sound like a gift to me. That might even sound like my gift to the community, but I don't see it that way. I too was blessed by that love. And more than anything, I was honored by the trust in the community that moving to a heart centered way of being together um, could be a risk that we would share, a risk that we would take, and a risk that would prove our greatest blessing. And to have had a life like mine that is about spiritual transformation, about spiritual teaching, about spiritual wisdom, um, you don't always get to test what you want to test, say what you want to say, try what you want to try. But this community trusted me. And to be trusted in that way about things like this, and of course, all the other courses and classes and changes and building renovations and art displays and all the things that we've been through, that is a huge gift. Your trust in me, your willingness to listen, your willingness to try the things that I've said. There is no way I could put into words what humbling and powerful gift that is. And it changes a person to be loved in that way, to be trusted in that way. And I feel changed as a person because of your trust in me. And maybe more than some cosmic metaphysical thing, I can say that through your faith in me, my own faith in myself has grown deeper. And as such, when we gather, your openness to what I have to say and my openness, your questions, your willingness, your care, and your concern is truly what invites spirit in. We've joked, many of us, Sunday after Sunday, um, about how I see Rick's up there in the corner. I don't know if you can see him. Uh, I'm just setting it down. Um, but there are so many times in classes or after Sundays where people will say, that was such a great thing you said, and what did you say? And I didn't write it down. And I always joke and say, I don't know what I said. I didn't write it down. And sometimes people say, oh, well, that's because it's channeled, or that's because it's inspired, or whatever. I'm not like a big fan of saying that anything that I do is channeled, but I absolutely want to say that when we are together, I am inspired. I'm inspired by your stories, by your vulnerability, by your lives, by what you've lived through, by what you've shared. And in that way, the only thing I can do in the presence of such a gift is just to set myself aside and listen. And when I do that, I find that personally, I am I'm touched and I'm awakened to the depth of the human journey. Like every single one of your stories, every single one of your facial expressions on a Sunday, every single person that ever came to a group, you have become a part of my story. You've become a part of my learning. You've helped me to see the world and travel the world um, without seeing the world or traveling the world. In 7 years, we have experienced so much together. And more than that, yes, because of your presence, our connection, and our openness to wisdom and spirit, what comes to us and through us in our classes has been a hugely, hugely transformative gift for me too. Believe it or not, every time I speak, I learn because it's a dialogue. And I wouldn't know anything that I know or share if it weren't for you. So, this is really the heart of what I wanted to say today with my love and gratitude. In just a second, we're going to bring our president, Rick Kitzman, here online, or we can even bring him in right now. I do want you to know that we have a surprise event coming up on, I think it's going to be the 31st, but look for the announcements. Ginny Castleberry from the board and I are going to be doing a special 1 hour interview, like a Barbara Walters, Oprah style expose. And we're going to go deep, deep into the lessons and the experience of Althea over the last 7 years. And then we will share that as a broadcast, a premiere live for our community. And of course, it will also be a fundraiser. So, Rick, are you here on screen with me?
I believe I am.
Thank you, brother. It's nice to have you here.
Yes.
Hey,
Well, it's nice to be here on your last day.
I can't, it's so weird. It doesn't feel like I've had so much emotion over the last month. And then this just feels like Sunday, like we're going to keep doing it.
Yes, if only. Well, on behalf of the board and certainly a lot of the congregation, I hope, I just wanted to voice our deep love and pleasure at having you here for as long as you've been here, 7 years. I know each of us has our own story with you, and that's so special. And you made it very easy to have a unique relationship, very easy. And I know I personally am so thankful for that. You really have been like a brother and a friend. And, this is the beginning of something new. It's not the end. Um, and when you have friendships, they don't end, they just enter a new phase. So that's how I'm choosing to view this. I think that, I once again, just from the perspective of you the best, I think that you have done such remarkable things for this community. And I know that as the board representative, we certainly appreciate your flexibility, your unique perspectives, and your true love and what's the word I'm looking for? Prioritizing what's best for Althea. And if we didn't know that already, we know it now for sure. And yes, you chose to leave us, but I have a little thumb here. Is that showing up? There we go. That's supposed to be a winking thumb. It's not turning out too well. Just a smile for wishing you the best. I know everyone wishes you the best and knows that you will be so successful at anything that you do. And just, there we go.
Well, thank you. I know it's sort of like there's no way to really wrap
No.
up this kind of a conversation, and that's why I feel like you. It's like a friendship that goes into a new
Sure.
stage. And I appreciate that you mentioned my priorities for Althea, because it is real. It's never felt like a job. I mean, certainly there are demands and endless things to do,
Yeah.
but I am genuinely here for the community. And I have to say, to your credit, I want the community to know that the board, the staff, and every community member stepping forward at this time is bringing their love and heart for the greater good. It's not about the Jonathan show, and it's not about the board and what it wants, and it's not even entirely about the history of this community. It's about the possibility that's just living and breathing in front of us, that we may not see it yet. And you have been a magnificent captain of the ship through this change. I don't know that people can appreciate how hard it must be to be in your seat with all the emotion and tensions and praise and fear running through this time. It's really been incredible. And I'm grateful for our board. We have a really wonderful, loving group of people, and I'm very grateful for you.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure, just a total
Thanks.
pleasure to be
Well, and
with
if I could say few
Yeah.
more words just to the community, is that if you did not see, or if you did not participate in the town hall from a week ago, that has been recorded. It's on the newsletter, and I think if Susan took it off, maybe she can put it back on. But for those of you who didn't, I encourage you to watch it. But just be on the lookout, because this transition is really going to ask for your participation as much as you want to. This is, the decisions going forward are not going to be board dictated. They are going to be community oriented. We're going to have a survey. We will, really take into consideration, the community's desires. And, now's the time to start thinking about an answer to this question: what is Althea? Because it's already has changed.
Yeah.
And so we have a unique and exciting opportunity to, as a group, to guide us in that direction that we want. So keep that in mind, everyone.
Well, brother, may I offer a closing blessing, and then we can take a moment and transition to letting people in the room?
Bet.
Right on. All right. Well, to one and all who are gathered here, whether you are with us live right now or watching this later, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And in your closed eyes, let the darkness that now enfolds you be the presence of spirit. In the darkness of your closed eyes and your opening heart, may you feel me and each and every one on this journey with you. We are closer than you could know. We are more connected than you could ever realize. And so from this place, we pray to the one that is all divine light, love, and wisdom, to all angels and ancestors, grandmothers, grandfathers, to the ancestors of our community and all communities of love and light. We humbly ask that you would lift us up, lift our hearts, lift our eyes, illuminate our path, so that we might see, that we might know that life is happening through us, not to us. And with gratitude and creativity, may we open the ears of our ears, the eyes of our eyes, and our innermost heart, that we might know the way forward, not only for our own wholeness and healing, but for the good of all beings everywhere. God bless Althea, all of its expressions, past, present, and future. And may we be led in the light to the highest lessons, transformations, and gifts for the world possible. For all these things and the unspoken prayers that remain in our hearts, together we say, Amen. So, for the folks that are still hanging in there on Facebook, don't forget, we're so grateful for your donations. We have so many amazing things coming up. Puria and Julia and Thursday Community Connections. All of this is on the website. All of this is in the newsletter. All of this is probably being posted right now. So we're going to take just like 1 minute, 60 seconds to take a breath. I'm going to shut my camera off and get some water. And then we are going to continue. Maybe whoever wants to come in the room will be here to 12 o'clock just to have a little time together before saying goodbye for now.